Hey everybody, here to talk about the Jackson County Kayak Bass Tournament. This is October 1st, and it's on all four of the Jackson County managed lakes. So that is Blue Springs, Jacomo, Longview, and Prairie Lee. On the side here is the flyer for the event. There's a short URL on there, the bit.ly link, and that takes you right to TourneyX. The TourneyX page has all of the information, full rules and everything. Big things for this are we'll launch at any of the county approved launch areas, and we'll walk through those in a minute. You can move, this is roadrunner style, you can move launch points, you can move lakes. Any of the 4 lakes are inbounds. Entry is only $20 with a $5 big bass option, and we're going for the 5 longest bass. KBF rules are what we're going to fall back on, and the payout's going to be top 10%. So that kind of depends on how many people are there, but it is going to be 100% payback after the TourneyX and the PayPal fees. Everything's going out to the winners. We'll announce the winners the day of, but then there's going to be a 24-hour delay before we send anything out, just in case there's something, someone has an issue with, some of the fish submitted or whatever. So we'll give everyone a chance for that. Again, the full rules are in the TourneyX page, so you can just fire that up or follow the link in the flyer. All right, here we go. Here is what's in bounds, and these are the official maps from the County Parks Department, so we'll roll with that. There are links to these in the TourneyX event, so you can see that. Up here, top left, we've got Lake Jacomo. Top right over here, we've got Longview and Blue Springs, and we'll give a quick step through each of those. Running north to south, we've got Blue Springs here. Let me shrink my head down right there. Okay, so Blue Springs has 3 launch areas: the auxiliary ramp, the marina, and this old road bed over here. The marina has the most parking, and it has a 3-boat wide ramp that you can use. The auxiliary ramp has quite a bit of parking. The ramp's really only 2 wide. There's nobody over there like rangers or a marina or anything, so that one gets a little wacky at times. And this one doesn't have much parking. And like I said, it's an old roadbed that used to cut across here before they flooded it for the lake. This area is all flooded timber. If that's the thing you're looking for, there's a few other places that are flooded timber if that's kind of fishing you like to do. Moving south, we've got Jacomo. So Jacomo has a few more launch points, and we'll kind of go right to left here. This one is Liggett Cove. Not a lot of parking, only 3 or 4 vehicles can fit there. Sailboat Cove can hold a few more, and it's an actual boat ramp, and that's right here. And we move over to the marina, which has tons of space, tons of parking, super wide boat ramp. I mean, it's like 7-8 boats wide, so a lot of room there. The marina's got good facilities too. Moving on south, there is this area that's just a big, flat, grassy area. There's a couple sandy spots to put in. There's a lot of parking over here in this whole general area on the south end. And then this one is really just the boat ramp. It's only 1 vehicle wide. It's kind of far from the parking. So that one's kind of iffy. There is no fishing from the north end up the marina, from the north end up to the buoys for the no wake zone for the marina, and there's no fishing around the boat docks. It's like, I think it's within 100 feet of the boat docks, and that goes for all the lakes. You can't go and fish the docks. And south of Jacomo is Prairie Lee. So as you can see, this is a pretty small lake. There's only the one launch point. There's a decent amount of parking, and the launch point is pretty big. But again, that lake is pretty small, so you could hit the whole lake in a kayak in less than an hour. Not hit every spot, obviously, but paddle from end to end. One thing to note, and I'll pull up Blue Springs again. What we're calling inbounds is anything you can reach by water from one of the county-approved launch points that stays within the green park boundaries. So, there's a few little creeks here, so you could take one of these creeks if it's, able to be floated, or, you can portage, that's fine, but it has to be connected by water. So you can go through those. This area you can't. This is the dam, there's a spillway, so it's not technically connected by water. Jacomo the same way. As long as you stay within the green and you can get to where you fish via water from one of these launch points, you are good. And then we're going to move on to the last lake, and I'm just going to be honest with this one. I'm not familiar with it. I haven't been on it at all, but there are 2 launch points on Longview Lake. It's a pretty decent sized lake. It's I think it's smaller than Blue Springs and Jacomo, but it's definitely bigger than Prairie Lee. So again, got to use those launch points and stay within the green boundaries if you go back in a creek. One other thing with the Jackson County lakes is they do require a permit, and since the year is half over, those permits are now $15 instead of $30, and that's for the year, so they expire at the end of 2022. And this won't apply for this tournament because we're going to start, first launch is going to be after sunrise. But if you do put in on the Jackson County lakes and it's dark, all boats have to have red and green nav lights on the bow. So it's kind of a goofy rule because nowhere else needs that. If you don't have a motor, I know the normal rules are you just have to have a 360 light if you are on a kayak or a canoe. So that's why, at least this go around, I did make sure that we launched after sunrise. I'm going to keep talking to the county about that because it's kind of silly to make people go through that effort when they're not running a motorized boat. All right. Flip back to the flyer here. If there's any questions, hit me up on Facebook or send me a message through Tourney X. You can register up until 6 a.m. the day of, so October 1st, 2022. At 6 a.m. you could register, but we're going to cut off then. Lines will go first launch at 7, lines in at 7:30, and lines out at 3 o'clock. You'll have until 4 o'clock to submit your pictures. I'm just kind of following off the excellent example of the way Mo-Yak runs there. So you've got an hour afterwards. Cell service is really good over all that area, so there shouldn't be any issues, but should you have an issue, you've got an hour after lines out to get those pictures in. I'm saying only catchboards on here because that's kind of the gold standard, and if you're going to do more tournaments, most of them require a catchboard. We'd probably let it slide for this first event, just to get the participation. Obviously, we'll want to check the board if it's not a catchboard, just to give it a check, make sure it's at least pretty close to accurate and not modified. The other thing is, this is just to prove it out. This is to prove out the lakes, the facilities, my ability as a tournament director, because I've never done this. I've just fished tournaments, so this is all new to me as well. And then hopefully we can get some good fishing up here and do a few of these next year. I'd definitely like to do some that are charity based, hit up some local businesses, get some good prizes, and then have all the entry fees go to whatever charity. So let me know if you've got good ideas on that as well. And beyond that, I hope to see you October 1st out on the water.